This Lenovo X61 has a broken screen. This, I believe, is the 5th screen that I'll be replacing. I thought I'd see how fast I can do it at this point, see how good I'm getting at doing this. The impact was over here, actually. You can't tell that it's broken when it's turned off, and when it's on it looks rather fantastic. So, let's get started here. First thing that needs to get done is take all these little spots off of here to be able to access the screws. There's adhesive on the back of them, so you just have to be careful, keep them separate so that you can just stick them back on after you put it back together again. All of these bezel screws are basically identical, except there's one short one, and that one goes over here by the fingerprint reader. So you can basically just put them in a pile, and remember that's where the short one goes. Now it starts to get interesting. You just have to slowly work your way around the edge. Start to pull it apart. It's one of those parts that you're walking that fine line between feeling like you're going to break it, but needing to apply enough pressure to bust it loose. Once you start to get it loose, it's actually glued. There's an adhesive that's holding it down. So you have to carefully peel it away without allowing it to break, a little bit at a time, until you can get this entire bezel off. And then you can start to take the screen out. So there we go, the bezel's off. Now I just need to unplug this little guy right here. You can see the adhesive that goes around there. There's strips of it. It's either on here or it's left on the plate itself. So in my experience, it's generally been good enough to stick back on when I put the new screen on there. So now we've exposed the screws, and we can start removing those. Okay, so those 4 screws held the screen in, and now the only thing holding it is a couple of cables right here. So now what we need to do is disconnect these, which is never a easy process. There's nothing neat about it. You basically just need to pull back the adhesive the best you can, pull the little connector loose. There's one behind this foil, and then I'm going to disconnect the one down here in the corner, the wire for the backlight. I think that's what that's for. Oh, that's right. The backlight wire actually has to be disconnected from the unit itself, not from the screen. You can see on the new screen here that cable's already in place. The connector is on the end of the screen, not on the not coming off of the unit. Now this unit is a tablet, so it's got the touch screen, the Wacom screen, Wacom. So there's a lot of fun stuff going on the back side of the actual screen itself that I need to take off and save for the other screen. That wouldn't be here if it was just a plain old laptop screen. This would be an easy job if that was the case. So you might see parts on here that you wouldn't see on your own if it's not a tablet. Okay, my screen is now disconnected, but I still have a lot of work to do here. I've got to peel the entire backing off, which is held on with adhesive, and then I've got to take this front piece off because there is an actual sort of plexiglass piece that is stuck to the screen itself that I need to transfer over to the new one. This is the piece that your pen is actually coming into contact with on the tablet, and it has little strips of foam adhesive that go all the way around that I need to carefully peel off so that they stay with the plate and not on the screen. And they want to break apart in the middle, but I have to keep that from happening. I have to peel it at the adhesive. So this is a big pain. Okay, what just happened there was this plexiglass piece wanted very badly to come off of the other off of the screen, but leave the adhesive strips behind completely. So I let it do that, and now I'm going to just peel the strips off and transfer the strips to the new screen and then apply this to it. Come on, focus. Here you can see the adhesive foam strips there, sort of soft. And you can understand why they would try to peel apart in the foam, or I should say break apart in the foam, instead of coming off nicely. So I'm going to have to be very careful with these. Okay, I got this one started. So now I should be able to just peel it off very carefully, move it onto the other screen. Okay, now I've got all the adhesive strips on this plate. This will be one of the last things that I put back on to the screen before screwing it back into place. So I'm just going to put it aside for now. Needs to be cleaned too. Now here comes the next fun part. Need to peel off all the fun stuff off of the back of this screen. Put it onto this screen. You can see there's a lot of stuff missing from this one. Not sure why the foil up at the top is important, but I'm going to assume that it is, so I'm going to transfer that over. And then this whole big sheet here, and this little piece of circuit board over here, is all the guts of the back end of the Wacom system. This is what recognizes the pen clicks and such. So I've got to transfer that over onto the new screen, and then I'll be ready to put it back together again. Okay, so here's this fun part. Like I said, I assume this piece is important, because if it wasn't, I would throw it right in the garbage along with the old screen, because it is a pain to get off. It also has this little piece of metal, aluminum or something in here that was really stuck to the back of here. I had to bend the hell out of it in order to get it off, and just trying to bend it back into shape. There's something on here that really needs shielding from something else, so I guess that's why these are here. Otherwise they wouldn't put them on, right? Okay, so now I have to take the entire backing off. In order to do that, I need to take these two little screws out of here, which I need a smaller screwdriver for. Now I can peel this up, and this is all just adhesive holding this in place all the way around. So this is another fun time. I carefully peel this off, transfer it over to the new screen. So there's what the back of that looks like. This is what senses all your pen clicks when you use them on a tablet screen. And at this point, the old screen is officially worthless. Okay, so now I have this stuck. I lifted this up just like I did on the other one. So now I can screw that piece back down. This is all just restuck onto here, as close as I could figure to the other one. Okay, so I got those screws back in. Now I need to put this pile of fun back on. Once again, just line it up the best I can. Hope there's enough adhesive to hold it in place. It ain't pretty, but it's on there. I haven't had any of them fail on me yet that I've replaced, so hopefully this one won't be the first. This screen came with a little protector on it, so you want to make sure you peel that off before you forget. Okay, so now it's time to reinsert the screen, the new screen, into the body of the computer. First, reattach the backlight connector. You have to unscrew this piece to lift it up in order to detach and reattach the backlight connector. When you reattach it, make sure that it is seated properly and there are no wires being pinched or anything underneath it. Otherwise your screen won't fit back in when you try to put everything back together. You want to make sure these connectors are in nice and tight before you use the adhesive pad here to hold it in place. Looking good. Okay, right now I'm just making sure that everything fits down in there right, that I don't have any wires pinched or anything goofy like that to keep this from sitting in here the way it's supposed to. And before I go any further, I'm going to power it on and make sure that my screen is functioning properly. Let's see what we get. And it's a good thing I did this because it doesn't seem like the backlight's functioning properly, so I must not have connected that completely or something. Something's not right. So, power down. Yes, evidently I had the connector in upside down because I'm stupid. There's where the connector goes. And I did not have it seated properly. Okay, let's try again now, shall we? That's better. That's what we should be seeing. 4 little identical screws. Okay, now the screen's in place. Next thing I need to do is attach this guy to the front of it, but before I do that, I want to clean the screen and I want to clean the inside of this. Because if they're all smudged up with fingerprints, they ain't going to be cleaned again. I use these guys. Okay, everything's nice and clean. So now I can stick this guy on here. Now I can put the bezel back on. Make sure everything's all snapped down and flush all the way around the edges before you put the screws back in. Little screw in the corner. Okay, so I got all the screws back in. Now I am putting these little sticky guys back on. That is that. Test it once it gets booted up to make sure that the pen still works properly. But the screen itself seems to be working just fine.